Hi, Sandy. Where is my video? There we go. Get myself ready to go here. Get my video online. How's that? There we go. Well, we're working on modern sampler. I'll show you the blocks that we've got done already. I've got 3 courthouse steps done. So 1, 2, 3. I've got 3 Arkansas Star blocks done. Number 3. I've got 1 churn dash done. We're going to do this one today. I think this is the first one we're doing. And then I have 2. This is another one I hope to get through today. Wild Goose Chase. And I've got 2 of those done already. And then hopefully, if we have time, we will work on the Dutchman's Puzzle. And just to review, this is the quilt. I am out of this fabric kit, but the one we're doing is very similar colors. These are the gorgeous fabrics. There's 24 fat quarters. This is the inner border. This is the outer border. And that's the whole kit. And the pattern with all the foundations, kind of thick. So, let's get started on, let's do the Wild Goose Chase block. So I only have 1 more of those to do. I've got all my pieces cut. You need, let's see, Wild Goose Chase. 2, I just used 2 colors. My geese in the corners, this whole thing here, all the geese are the, whatever color this is, I don't know, kind of a cross between a peach and a pink, I don't know. And then this is my background, and the background to the geese. So what the first square we cut 3 inches by 3 inches, piece number 1. We cut 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 2 3/4 inch squares, cut them once diagonally. That's for the background on the geese. For the geese themselves, we cut 3 3.5 inch squares, cut them once diagonally. And then for these outside pieces, we cut 1 7-inch square and cut it once diagonally. So pretty quick cutting. And I have, oops, I didn't separate them. Oh, I did. They're all in order. Well, would you look at that? More organized than I thought. I think because there's 1 extra. Okay. So we're going to go to the sewing machine and we're going to get started on this. I'm going to set your fabric piece number 1 with the wrong side facing up. you own 2 of the kits, 2 of this kit. As if you do, okay, well, if you want to send the first one or the second one back, let me know. We'll do, I'll talk to Laura. I'll have her get in touch with you. So if you want to send it back, drop one of us a message and we'll get it figured out. So unless you want to make a double size one, bedside, it would be like for a queen. That's up to you. Anyway, let us know. So we're going to start with fabric piece number 1, wrong side facing up. And obviously my batik isn't, this line of batiks, I haven't noticed anything to tell you front or back. So we set it like that. Then we're going to take the foundation. We're going to set it on top. When it is in this position, you want to be able to read the printing, and somewhere in the seam allowance around the outside edge, it will say stitch with this side facing up, fabric underneath. Very important that you always sew with the right side facing up, and then you're looking through to the wrong side of your fabrics. So we want to line it up so we have about 1/4 of an inch past the line. This is space 1, this is space 2. Space 3, if you line it up so you have 1/4 inch past the line on both of those, you'll save yourself 1 trimming. So I put a pin in it. I could, in fact, I think I will. Oops, I got to put my needle back to the middle. I've been working on the I'll just show you that one. The Hexies. I've been working on that one. I'm about half done, but I want to get it off of the design walls, so I need to get it, what I have done, put together so I won't lose parts. So I am going to just run a line of making sure that I have my 1/4 inch past both of those lines. I'm just going to run a basting stitch. I will do it sooner or later. Might as well just do it now. And that's plenty. You just want it to keep the foundation to the fabric underneath. Because when the whole block's done, this would just be flopping separate from your fabric. And I just find it's easier to baste it like that. Okay, so now we're going to turn it over so the right side of the fabric's facing up. I'm going to trim. Y'all know how much I hate threads. Trim those little threads off. And then we're going to take fabric piece number 2. That's my background to the geese. And we're going to put right sides together. And I'm just going to make sure that I kind of have it centered, about the same amount of fabric going past this line. Because remember, these lines come down another 1/4 of an inch. So it's just best if you center it. And then we're gonna, I put my pin back down here. If you watch Laura, I noticed she, if I could get in that habit, she puts her pin up here, and then when she gets it to the sewing machine, she takes the pin out. If kind of a good way to do it, so you don't forget you got your pin there. And then we're just going to stitch on the line from where it starts to where it ends. I don't back stitch. Oh, I think do clip my threads. Yeah, you can trade the fabric kit. That's fine. Whatever you want to do. Oh, and my iron's been sitting here for a while. Let me let it warm back up. And if you have an auto on-off iron, this is what I highly recommend you do. Get it, hit it, move it so it comes back on, and then before you hit it to your fabrics, I swipe it a couple of times across the ironing board. There's that steam. There we go. Okay, now, because when I set this, I have a 1/4 inch here going past the line, I don't have to trim yet. So we'll take fabric piece number 3, right sides together. And again, kind of center it. It doesn't have to be perfectly centered, just close to it. We'll flip that over. And we're going to stitch from this top of the line down to the bottom. I think my stitch is still a little too big. Shorten it up just a little bit. There we go. Press that. And if you're new, first of all, these are our leave-in foundations. You leave them in. You don't have to rip any paper out. These do give your blocks it doesn't add any weight or bulk to your quilt, but it keeps everything nice and straight, especially if you have bias edges. It's not going to let them stretch, and of course you get the perfection like you do on paper piecing, but leaving them in, there's some advantages besides just not having to rip the paper out. It's much easier on your needle, on your machine. It's great when you go to quilt it because everything will be square. So step number 1 is to stitch. Step number 2 is to trim. So you want to put your straight edge along the next seam line. Just worry about the next piece. So I'm trimming so I can add piece number 4. So you put your straight edge along the seam line, fold your foundation back. You don't want to cut your foundation. And then use your add a 1/4 ruler to trim away the extra fabric so that you have a 1/4 inch seam allowance there. That way, when you turn it over, the right side of your fabrics are facing up, and you're going to take fabric piece number 4 and put right sides together just like that. Kind of center, have about the same amount of fabric going past the outside lines. And then put a pin down here away from where you're going to sew, because we're going to turn it over and we're going to sew on the line. Whoops. I think the needle's off position just a tad. and stop where the line stops. Let's see. I need to, whoops. There, I think that might be better. So what's today? Tuesday. Hope everybody had a great weekend. I'm trying to think what we did. Okay, so right there, I think that's a perfect point. What's that thread? See, I hate threads. That little white thread. Anyway, that's a perfect point. Now we're going to turn it over and we're going to get ready to add piece number 5. Right, there's the seam line. Fold this back. Use your add a quarter ruler. Trim that away. Open it up, turn it over so the right sides of the fabrics are facing up. Take fabric piece number 5. Now this is where it's much easier to line it up. To center it, this seam line down here, the point of the piece you're adding should just line up with that seam line. Or fairly close. And then you'll know you have it in the center. Okay, let me see if my needle's in the center. There we go. Sorry. So for those of you who hate making flying geese, this is your answer to having flying geese that have real points. Okay. Now we're going to get ready to add piece number 6, which is here. So this is my seam line. We'll line that right up. Fold this back. And then turn it over so the right sides are facing up. I love these colors. This is the Modern Sampler, this quilt that we're working on right now. This block is Wild Goose Chase. There's 8 different blocks in the sampler quilt. There's 3 of each block. And I am a bit of a nerd or whatever about cutting my threads. Everybody who watches me knows that. Oops. Make sure that's flat all the way out. Okay, On to piece number 7. There's not a lot of waste on here, but you do want to trim it down because all the sizes are based on you using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now when I add the goose down here, I just kind of make sure it looks like it's a square, you know, not like that. About like that is fine. It doesn't have to be exact. You don't have to measure it. Just eyeball it. There's enough fabric in the cut pieces. They don't have to be exact. And that's part of the fun of doing this kind of sewing is cutting goes much faster because you don't have to be so accurate. When I was cutting pieces this morning, I was cutting 8 layers at a time, and I wasn't worried about it. And yes, it would be convenient to have the automatic thread cutter, I think. Oh, it looks like another great point there. Oops, guess if I looked at the right one. Yeah, that'll do. Okay. Number 8 is next. Now, if you want to speed this up, we can cut both sides of the goose. I always recommend don't do it until you're confident you know what you're doing. See, this is 8 and this is 9. So we'll just cut for both. It just saves one trip for each set as you're going. I always hesitate to do that. I don't want to confuse you. We'll get a background piece if I can make my fingers work. Let's see, this goes here. You know, this is a really peaceful way of sewing. It's very, once you get your fabrics cut, and like I say, even cutting your fabrics is so much simpler than for a traditionally pieced quilt. Because you don't have to be so exact. As long as you sew on the line, you're going to get perfect blocks. And I always recommend when you're cutting all the blocks apart, they come in one long piece of the foundation. It's all one piece, and you have to cut them apart. When you do, there will be big chunks of blank foundation, and it's pre-shrunk, so you can use it. Now remember, I had already trimmed this piece, but I always recommend keeping some of it, because if you should accidentally cut in the wrong place, you can use it to kind of patch up. Oops, and I just ran out of bobbin thread. Let me put a new one in here. Okay, turn that over. And I can see the tail up here, so I know I haven't folded it under. That's not a hard thing to do. But with ours, because you can see through it, you can tell if it's folded under. And if you want a fussy cut, you can fussy cut any piece. And if anybody ever wants to know how to do that, send me a message and I will show you. And before I forget, there will not be live on Saturday because I'm going to be up in the Bay Area teaching a big workshop. We're getting ready to add piece number 10. Moving right along here. Really, none of these blocks are real complicated. Probably the most difficult part is deciding which fabrics to put where. But there's plenty to choose from. I do love these colors. Gorgeous. These are from Riley Blake, all batiks. And again, I'm going to trim both sides. And you can do that with any of the Flying Geese blocks. Let's see, this is 11. It really doesn't matter if you go in proper order. The only time you want to make sure you go in the proper order is when you get up to the top because, oh, on this one it doesn't matter. So I guess it doesn't matter. I don't know why, but this one, I just feel way more comfortable pinning all the pieces, as I go. It really makes it much easier to get it to your sewing machine. Remember, if you decide you want to make this pattern, we keep these videos on the YouTube channel, so you can always go back and refer to them as you're making it. And if you make this pattern and you want to make it again, you can order just the foundations. It's called a refill package. All of our patterns, we also for all of our patterns, we also offer the refills. So don't ever throw away your instructions, because the refills don't include the instructions. We're getting this one done quickly. And again, I'm going to trim for both the next two pieces. So things got held up on my greenhouse a little bit. They were went to put the roof on, and we had the wrong stuff somehow. So we bought more yesterday. So I think they said they'll get it done tomorrow. I'm so anxious. To get it finished. It used to be, it was a catio, and but all of our cats are mostly out. They come in the house once in a while. We have one that's in quite a bit, but they're all outside cats. So we decided we didn't really need the catio, and I decided it'd be awesome to turn it into a greenhouse. So clear plastic sheets went up on we left the screen from the catio. We left it all in place. It was nice. And all the plastic sheets have been put up. The wood's been stained. I have The floor, it's a wood floor, and so Bob's putting a couple of drains in it, so I got the drain covers and a plastic coating for the flooring, for the floor, so I can wash it down. If I spill dirt, it'll be easier to sweep up, and if I need to wash it down, I can do that. And I've got stuff to go on the walls. 2 walls are solid, or 1 wall is solid, part of another one is solid. And I just can't wait. Hey, we're on the last, see, I knew there was one extra. Last goose. I just love this color. And since there won't be, Thursday we should get the last 3 blocks done. And then no show on Saturday. But I will probably, hopefully, a week from today, we will start putting it together. This one together. Okay, so all the geese are on there. And now we've got to trim the 2 sides of the flying geese section. Get my long ruler out and trim all those little, what do we call those, dog ears? Turn that around and we'll do this one. Okay, let me press these flat. These are the 2 big corners. Let's see, 17 and 18. It really doesn't matter which one goes where. And I'm basically just going to center it from the broken line, about the same amount. And I'm going to put a pin up here, and I'm going to put a pin down here. Still making sure they're back far enough that I don't run over them with the sewing machine. And I do sew slower than most. Probably drives people crazy. But it's part of the relaxing routine to me, and I feel like I'm a lot more accurate. It's whatever makes you comfortable and gives you the end result you're looking for. So, and if you're not real comfortable following a line, if you're really, really used to using your 1/4-inch guide, practice with some binder paper and just put an old needle in, because paper dulls your needle so fast. Those points look good. Put this on this side. And again, I'm going to pin it twice just to keep it from wandering off. And yes, sewing slow, I find I have a lot less unstitching to do. Trim those threads. Yeah, I wanted to get my, I was working on the Hexie quilt because I want to get it off the design wall because I want to get this one, start, being able to put this one out. Oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. Okay, now, if you're new, I like to, see I have this whole big expanse that's not attached. So what I like to do, you want to lay it out nice and flat. You don't want to distort your blocks. And then I just run a line of stitching between the solid line and the dotted line to hold it all together. So when I go to sew it into my quilt, sew it to the, sew the sashing on it, that I know that the foundation and fabric are together the way they should be. And I stupidly started in the wrong place because this one is already stitched. I'll just go over here to the other side. This is where you should start. And then you can go all the way around back to where I stitched the first piece down. Just want to make sure you hold this all flat so you don't distort your block. So Thursday we're gonna do Fox and Geese block, the Pineapple block, and the New York Beauty block. And I already showed you the little blocks. I only got a few of them done after our show on Saturday. I'm just going to give this a good pressing. And then I'm going to trim around the outside edge of the block 1/4 inch from the solid line. And I can tell you, I know that this broken line is more than 1/4 of an inch. And I don't know why. We try to be right on, and it's pretty close. I need to order some new rulers. My markings on these rulers are starting to wear off. Gonna have to check out and see what's new. Okay. So there we have, oh, that is so pretty. Okay, that's our third one of those. Where did I put all my blocks? Here we are. That one, and that one. That one, that one, that one. This pile's getting higher. Okay, next one we're going to do, this is a real easy one, is the churn dash block. So that one, oh, and I've got them cut already. Let's work with a different color. These are all cut and the pieces are in order, part A, part B, part C. And again, I leave this whole foundation together. If you want, you can cut apart on this dotted line and do each one individually. I think today that's what I'm going to do, just for the heck of it. Or you can leave it all together and then that's the line you fold on. And when you fold this over, all your seams are going to match. Okay, this is part A, part B, part C. So we'll just put them here in order. This is my pieces for part A. And just to quickly go over for the churn dash block, the cutting instructions, fabric A, let's see, gotta remember which one is background, which one. I think the light is my background, which will be 2 by 3.5. Okay, well, number 1. Okay, the background, I guess, on this one is the lighter color. Oh yeah, okay, that's right. So cut 2, 3.5. What I did was I cut one strip 4 inches wide by the 22 or 20 inch width. And from that, I cut down here, I cut 2 4x4, I don't know if you can read it, 2 4x4 pieces, and you cut those once diagonally. And then from that same 4-inch strip, I went and I cut 2 3.5, 2 inch by 3.5. And then down here, we needed another 2 inch by 3.5. So from that one strip, I got all the pieces I needed. And then I did the same thing for the other fabric. Because it's basically, you're only cutting 2 different sizes. You're cutting 4x4 and 2 by 3.5. The only one that's different is you need, for the very center square, 3.5 by 3.5. So I got those all cut. So let's get to sewing. So again, we're going to take fabric piece number 1 and put it with the wrong side facing up. And then we're going to set our foundation on top. This is space 1 right here. We want about 1/4 inch of fabric going past the line between 1 and 2. And you want at least 1/4 inch past the line on both sides and at the bottom. So I put a pin in it, and we're going to turn it over, and we're going to take fabric piece number 2, put right sides together. This one is small enough, the foundation's small enough, that I don't need to, I'm not going to pin it. And remember, you sew on the right side of the foundation. That's the side you can read. There we go. It says stitch with this side facing up, fabric underneath. So we're just going to put our needle down right at the end of the line there. and stitch across. It's been a long time since I've made this block. The one that's done I made at a quilt show for a demo. Okay, and then open that up and press it nice and flat. And then this is number 3 right here. I'm going to turn it and trim. Fold that back along the seam line. Use our add a quarter ruler. And then we'll take a fabric piece number 3. When it's done, it's going to sit like this. Whenever there's angles, especially the triangles, it's always good to set it the way it's going to go. Then you can just flip it over. Put a pin back here. And we're going to just stitch on the line. You want to stop where the line stops, because we're going to have, when we go to add the next piece, we'll be folding it back right along this line. So if you went any further, it's gonna make your foundation not fold right, not fold back over your straight edge right. So open that up and press it. And then we're going to trim to add piece number 4. And that will be this piece. So we'll just kind of match that up. And then on this one, you're going to notice this line doesn't, it starts right there. It doesn't go out into the, even though there's no more seams or piecing crossing it, it's because when we're done with this piece, we're going to put our straight edge along this line, fold the foundation back, and or we'll trim it down to 1/4 of an inch. We don't even need to fold the foundation back. I'll show you just in as soon as we get the rest of these pieces on here. But here at this other end, we will go back, we will go all the way out to the dotted line. If I would have left all 3 pieces to the block together, you would fold the foundation back and trim 1/4 inch here. But we're gonna, when I separated them, we'll just cut the foundation too. That looks good. The nice thing when you're doing this quilt, if you buy, you need 24 fat quarters plus the yardage for the outer border and the inner border. The nice thing to do, or the thing that would so you know all your colors are going to blend well together, is to buy a set. And a lot of manufacturers do pre-cut fat quarter bundles in 24. You need the 24. I mean, you can always get a bundle with, I think sometimes there's 28 or 32. But then you know that your fabrics are all, the colors are all going to blend. Okay, let's see, piece number 5. It's going to go like that when it's sewn, so we just flip it over. And we're going to just stitch on that line right there. Open it up and press it. And I like to set the stitches before I open the fabric piece up. It's going to give you a flatter seam that way. You don't have a ridge of stitching to fold your fabric over. You have this pattern, Lorraine? It's a fun one to do. And I like to do, when I do it, I do like to do all 3 of the same block. I know sometimes I get excited wanting to do another one, but it seems to me that if you cut for all 3 and make all 3, it seems just to go a little faster. I don't know. And then you're not having to go back and revisit and remember how you did it. Okay, so we got all the pieces on part A all down. I'm gonna again run a line of stitching around because I've got both corners. The fabric's not attached to it, so I want to do that. We'll start right here. I don't change the size of my stitches when I do this. Sometimes if you use a basting stitch and where it's only 1 layer of fabric thick, sometimes my machine will make it pucker a little bit. So I just use the same size stitching that I use in my piecing. And again, you don't want to distort your block, so make sure you keep it flat. Okay, and then I always like to give it a good pressing. And then we're going to trim all the way around, a 1/4 inch from the solid line. One more edge. Okay, so part A is done. Like that. Set that aside, and now we're going to do part B, which is the middle piece. Excuse me. Okay, and you know, I always stack my pieces in order, and then I put them to the right side, on the right side of my machine, so I can just I can just grab off the top. Let me I think my allergies are deciding to act up. Okay, so we're going to take fabric piece number 1, wrong side facing up, set the foundation on top, and again you want to be able to read the printing that's on the foundation. Set it with about 1/4 of an inch going past the line into space 2. I'm going to just stitch this down out in the seam allowance. Hi, Maria. Glad you could join us. Okay, so then we're going to flip it over and we're going to put right sides together. Flip it back over and we're going to just sew on that line. And this one, since they're apart, if you want to go past the line a little bit just to make sure your fabric's going to hold good till you get it all sewn together, that works for me. Had I left all 3 pieces, all 3 parts together, you would not want to go past that line because you want to be able to fold the foundation back and trim this whole edge down to 1/4 of an inch. Okay, getting ready to add piece number 3. Right sides together, edges even, and I'm scooting mine. I really doubt that the blue would show through if by some chance I didn't get it even, but I'm going to scoot it just a couple threads past so I won't get a shadow. Way I know I won't, and won't have to worry about it. See, and I didn't push it quite far enough. Just a couple of threads. So I can, there I see it. See, you can just barely see it. But that'll make sure that the blue doesn't shadow through when I open it up and press it. Oh yeah, it's my allergies. I usually don't suffer too much from allergies this time of year. My bad time of year is in the fall. I'm allergic to walnut trees. And we had 3 walnut trees along the driveway between our house and the studio. So come fall, I really suffered, but we've had to have all the trees pulled out. Number 4. You can see this is a pretty easy block. And trim for number 5. And for anybody that's new, we do in all of our packages, whether it's a pattern or blocks, we do tell you what size to cut all of your pieces. I would always get upset when I was paper piecing. I would get so upset because nobody ever told you what size to cut. And unless you're experienced, it's hard to figure out. It's not hard, but it takes time to figure out what size to cut your pieces. And invariably, I would cut a wrong angle or whatever. So I decided when we started doing this and writing the patterns that I would always include the cutting instructions. Okay, I'm going to trim all the way around on this, a 1/4 inch from the solid line. I think parts of this says monkey wrench, parts says churn dash. From what I understand, they're both assembled the same way. I think sometimes the pieces, the contrast is smaller in one than it is in the other in relationship to the size of the rest of the block. Like on this one, this part and this part are the same. They finish the same. I think I'm not sure if it's a monkey wrench or churn dash. I believe this is the contrast to make the monkey wrench itself is slightly smaller. Okay, so we're going to put these 2 pieces together. Put right sides together, and we want to match this dot right here with this right there. Oops, sorry, right there. And on this one, this is another one of those. Keep your pin straight. And grab a second pin and put it in like that. Okay, now we've got to match. Where do we have a seam? No seam there, it's down here. So we want to put a pin right just to the, just a thread from your seam line. So you're putting your pin through the single layer of fabric. Like that. Actually, I want it even closer. My light is not so great here, or I'm blind. Here we go, and now I got a feel for that because it's all the same color. Perfect. Put it straight across like that, and grab another pin and I'll put it like that, and then come down here, match this seam with the seam underneath. Make sure I'm a little high or a little low. Just like that, just like that. And again, I bring a pin in. Don't want to rock it. Just have too many problems if I rock the pin. And we want to make sure that this meets right there at that point. And again, I use another pin. Leave this one straight and pin it like that. Okay, it's ready to sew. Whoops. And if you would have left all three parts together as one, you would have just folded on the center line. I believe it even says on the foundation, fold here. And do the same matching and stitching. This is a modern sampler. This is the pattern we're doing today. We have made, Saturday, we made this block. What's the other block we made? Oh, we made the courthouse steps. And then we made the little tiny square and a square for the border, for the middle border. So today we did the wild goose chase and we're doing the churn dash. And look at that. Now I do press my seams open here. Because you have seams on both sides. You know, you have a seam here and a seam here. So if I pressed it one direction or the other, it's kind of a bulky where they, so if you press it open, you kind of even it out so you don't get any one big bulky place. And when you have the foundation, when it's sewn to the foundation takes a lot of the pressure off of the fabric. So you can open it up. Ooh, that's a pretty one. Okay, and then we're going to do part C, and it's identical to part A. So we will set fabric piece number 1 with the wrong side facing up, and we're going to put about 1/4 of an inch of space or a fabric past the line into space number 2. That is always how you start any blocks. The shapes may be different, but you do it this. You always just worry about it covering all of space 1 and at least 1/4 of an inch on the other 3 sides, or if it's an odd shape, whatever shape it is, you want to make sure that you have at least 1/4 of an inch past all the lines. And we're just going to stitch on this line. And then step number 2 is to press. Whoops, I forgot to take my pin out. I always have trouble getting that when they're exact same edges. Okay, number 3 is right here. So this is where we're going to add it on. Fold that back. Use our add 1/4 ruler. Trim that little bit of extra away. Take fabric piece number 3. Now remember, if you have trouble figuring out how to set your piece, I always say, set it the way it's going to go once it's sewn on. I mean, it's pretty obvious that's wrong. That's wrong. So you want to set it like this, and then just fold it over so the right sides are facing each other. Match those edges. And sew on the line. And I believe, since we're not doing a show on Saturday, I guess on Thursday, I'll let you know what we're going to do. I know the following Tuesday, a week from today, we're going to work on putting this quilt together. And then I'll tell you on Thursday what we're going to work on starting on Thursday of the following week. So stay tuned. Okay, piece number 4. See, now I pushed it past the edge of the darker fabric just to make sure there's no shadows show through when we open it up. And we'll press it. I think I'm going to have to order me a new smaller steam iron. Fold this back. You know what I love about using the foundations is the back side of all of your blocks looks so neat. Just all of them. You know, they just look so cool. I know nobody's going to see it once you get it quilted, but you'll know. See here again, put it the way it's going to go and then just flip it over. Turn it over and sew on the line. We're almost done. Press it. And then we're going to trim for the last piece. So this block went real fast. And the last piece. And I'm just going to scoot it a little bit. That's all we need. And press it. And then I'm going to run a line of stitching. Start right here. Okay, trim these threads. Give it a press. And then we'll trim around the edge 1/4 inch from the solid line. And then we'll sew this one to the rest of it. Just there's our block. Perfect. I hear a kitty cat outside. Match this seam with that seam. Perfect. And then this end. If you hold it up to the light just right, you can see through that light color. Here we go. Okie dokie, let's stitch this line. And yes, you can back stitch at both ends. I tend not to. I don't know why. Oh, look at that. Perfecto. Beautiful. Here we have our churn dash block done. I actually have the next one all cut. Just, I'll show you the fabrics. These are the fabrics for it. Totally different. I will get that done later. I want to show you how to do a Dutchman's puzzle. There are so many different ways to do this. Again, well, I have all my pieces cut. I don't have them in order, but I know this is my background for all the geese. And then I have two different colors. And let me show you. I gotta find one on this quilt. Oh, right there. That one right there, and there are two different colors. So you do two colors like that, and then the other two colors there, and then you make the exact same Part B is made exactly as Part A, the same colors in the same places, and then it swivels around when you put them together, and that's the Dutchman's puzzle. Now, there are other ways you can do it. I'm looking down here. That's the way I did them all on this quilt. Stuck with the traditional. But you can do 1, 2, 3, 4, all the same color, and then the outer ones the same color or a second color. You can do 1, 2, 3, 4, all the same color, and skip this goose. Just put the same background color, and then you have a pinwheel. So it's a pretty, I don't know what you call it, a versatile block. You can get a lot of different looks from the same block. So, and I do believe there is a way, if you did it Part A, Part B exactly the same, and instead of turning it so that all 4 points come together, you'd turn it so you'd have 4 going that way and 2 and 2 going that way that were the same color. I mean, what I suggest is make Part A, Part B, and mess around with it, see how you want it. But this is a traditional Dutchman's puzzle done that way. And that's how I'm going to do this one. So I am going to cut the 2 parts apart. And we'll take, I guess this is Part A, yep. So I have my 2 colors. So I know that piece 1 and piece 4 are going to be one color. And over here, 7 and 10 will be the other color. So I'm going to start with fabric piece number 1, wrong side facing up, put the foundation on top, like this, about 1/4 of an inch past the line into space 2 and into space 3. I always say these are a 2-for-1 block. And I'm just going to stitch that in the seam allowance. All these threads. I love threads, just not hanging around loose. Okay. Oops, see, there's threads there. Okay, now this is my background. This is piece number 2 right here. So we'll start there and put right sides together. Turn it over and stitch on the line. And you really want to be accurate on this one because you've got 3 different seam lines coming together right there. I wonder what this would look like if you just made each flying geese a different color. Each goose, whatever. I'd have to play with that. And then we're going to press it. Okay, and remember we set it so we had the 1/4 inch over here for piece number 3. So we will, I guess that's just part of the design. We'll put right sides together there Get my threads where they belong. And turn it over. My pedal is walking away from okay. And this one, it's really important that you do work from the right side of the foundation so you can read the printing on the foundation. Otherwise, you're not going to get the right layout. Okay, and put this. Now, if you want to find the center, sometimes I do this. I fold it and just pinch it at the center fold and then line that up with that line right there and scoot it up. And turn it over and stitch on the line. Sorry, wiggle you all over the place, make you seasick. And cutting for this one, I didn't go over the cutting, but it is really simple. For the background, each background square that you cut makes one unit, so you need 8 squares of your background fabric that are, I believe, they're cut at 3.5 inch square, and then you cut them once diagonally. Each square is the 2 background pieces for each goose section. And then for the flying geese, you need 2 squares that are 6 inches square, and you're going to cut them twice diagonally. So I cut one pink square and one, I guess it's kind of a grayish background, and the other. And this time I'm going to cut both sides in one trip to the cutting mat. If you don't like making flying geese, this is the answer. If you can follow the line, you'll get perfect geese. Okay, now when I line this up, this is where I put the point of the triangle along that seam line. Bring it up here, and I'm going to push it just a little past. But see, I keep that kind of lined up. And that way you know you've got enough, it'll cover the space it's supposed to. And we're going to put our needle down right at that point. Perfect. Stop right there. cut it and press it. There we go, and now we'll add piece number 6. Again, just line it up so the point's there. And this one, the line goes all the way out at both ends. It goes all the way out to the broken line. Perfect. Okay, now we're going to trim to add piece number 7. So fold this back. And then this is the other color for the geese. Whoops. This is my other one. Point comes right to this seam line right here to get it centered. That's an important point right there, so you want to make sure you're accurate, because that's going to be the center of the block where all the points meet. So when I open this one up, it's going to tell me if I'm accurate there. And it's the time to fix it if it's not. Okay, that's beautiful right there. Perfect so far. Yep. Fold this back, and we're going to cut both sides of the goose out the same trip to the cutting mat. I don't know if that's doing any good or not. Here we go. Okay, so now we're ready to add our background. And again, line that bottom corner up with the seam line. And because I'm doing a light over a dark, I'm going to scoot it up a couple of threads past the edge of the dark. I don't know if you can see, but I do see just a teeny sliver of the lighter fabric. And this is very important to hit this spot right on. It looks good to me. Perfect. I'll show you. This is what you want to check. When you add this piece on, You see right here where 1, 2, 3, 4 fabrics come together, that point right there, that's going to be the center of your block. And I don't think you could get that point any better. That's perfect. Now would be the time, if it wasn't perfect, now would be the time to fix it. Because once you sew the next piece on, this piece isn't so easy to take off. So this is when you want to make sure that that point is right, because that's going to be the center of the block, and you're going to have the other piece is going to be the same way, and you're going to want those points to match. So, okay, we've already trimmed, so let's put our other piece on. And this one, there's no seam to match it to match this point to, so I just make sure that it's kind of square there. And trim for number 10. Line that point up with that seam line, and you'll know it's centered. If you're just flipping through YouTube and come across this, if you sign up on our if you subscribe to our channel, I'm not a real techie, but I do believe you do get a notice that we're coming on to do a live. My daughter-in-law Laura does live shows Monday, Wednesday, Friday mornings. She's on the East Coast, and so she does her shows 10 to noon back there, Eastern time. And I do mine on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday from noon Pacific time to 2, thereabouts. Sometimes we get done a little early, sometimes we run over a little bit. And then we do make these, all these shows are available to you at any time. It takes, like today's show won't be available for about 24 hours, but then it will be on there. So if you decide to make this quilt and want to check out how to make the blocks, it will be there for you. And if at any time there's any questions, if you have any questions about any of our patterns or blocks, I try to catch the chats on here on the live, but if I miss it and don't answer, you can send me a message at deb@easypiecing.com. That's my email, and I will either answer you either via email or I'll answer your email and let you know if we're gonna address your question on a live. I will let you know when. And if it's something simple that I can explain in an email, I'll do that. Okay, so this one is done. Let's press this last piece open. And I am going to run a line of stitching. I only have to run it, well, I'm going to run it all the way around because all four corners are loose from the foundation. You don't have to do this, but I do recommend it. It sure made life easier. I mean, it was easy before, but this now there's no guess, don't have to worry about when I put a pin in on the foundation that it's in the right place on the fabric as well. If that makes sense. I do love these colors. These fabrics are just gorgeous. My goal is to, where did I start my stitching? Where's my threads? Oh, well, let me give it a little bit of a press. And now, like always, we're going to trim 1/4 of an inch from the solid line all the way around. You know, when you're using your ruler, if you have trouble with it slipping, it was years into my quilt making before I learned if you put your little finger outside off of the ruler, and most of you probably already know this. I was just a late coming to this realization. But if you put your finger there, it tends to keep your ruler from slipping. Okay, so part A is done. And part B is going to be made exactly the same. So on this one, piece number 1 was a pink. So I want it to be the same on this block, on this part. I don't know if I've caught, is that a pink or a, it's pink, it's orange and mauve. I'm calling it Every once in a while, oh, I have a big cone that sits off the end of the machine, and sometimes I put stuff too close to it when it'll as the threads on coming off the cone. If there's something too close, it will hinder it from coming off smoothly. Okay, this is number 2 here. We've already got our fabric set. We're ready with the 1/4 inch, so we will just set right sides together, turn it over. This is that all-important center, very center, so this is, you really want to be accurate when you put your needle down. The sampler is a great way to show you that once you understand this process, you can do any of our blocks or any of our quilts. They're all done in pretty much the same way. They're just, fabrics might be different shapes. And when I was talking earlier about telling you that we put the sizes in to cut, most all of my pieces that I have you cut are squares, rectangles, or half square triangles. And if it's something a little different, like the other day when we did this block, there's templates, so you don't waste so much fabric. But that's pretty much how I do all of my cutting. A lot of them, I will tell you, like to cut a strip 3 inches wide by the width of fabric, and then recut that strip into whatever, 3 inches by 4 inches, whatever size the pieces are. And usually I will suggest, like if you're cutting a width like that, like 3 inches by the width of fabric, and say if you've got to cut 2 or 3 of those to get the number of blocks you need, or squares, or whatever it is you're cutting. I'll tell you, leave them folded, stack them 4 or 6 thicknesses, and then cross cut, because it goes so much faster. And again, you don't have to do such accurate cutting as you do for traditional piecing. It's the sewing on the line that gives you the perfection. And our pieces have ample space. We don't want to waste a lot of fabric, but we do cut them slightly larger than they need to be. So if your ruler moves a little bit, or the layers of fabric twist a little as you're cutting, it's okay. Oh, it's always so much fun to open these up and see that perfect point. When there's the same colors in both fabrics, it's hard to see, but that is a perfect point. Okay, now we're going to trim for piece number 5 and number 6. I can't wait till Thursday. We're going to do the New York Beauty block. So you all get to see curved seams and how easy they are. Background. Push that up just a little bit. Today's election day here in California. Hope you've all voted. When we're done here, we're headed in to drop off our ballots. Nothing like waiting till the last day. And we're going to go over a little bit today because I really want to show you how to put this together. You know, when I'm pulling my colors for these blocks, I am not real picky about being all matchy-matchy because all the fabrics go together. So when you're putting your blocks together, it just all blends well. And that will be part of the fun of putting this together. Okay, this is that point in the middle. There we go. Just want to make sure we get the needle right down where it's supposed to be. And also, have you signed up for my blog? I don't blog very often. Just when I have something to share that I think you will enjoy. And they're never very long. I don't want to bore you. But I like to share when I get photos of customers' projects. I think I'm trying to remember to put them in our chat group on Facebook, which we'd love to have you join as well. It's kind of where we all share what we're working on and help each other out and all that good stuff. I love to share what I'm working on as far as new designs, but you guys get so excited on some of these, and I feel bad if the pattern's not totally done and ready to sell. but I'll talk about it in the blog. Keep you posted on how things are going, and I do have some really neat new ones. And we're putting together our next block of the month project. I know you've probably been hearing us say that. And there again, look at how perfect that center point is. So we shouldn't have any trouble matching our center. Oh, that's right. This one doesn't have a seam line to line up to. Almost done. I should have had half of this one done before we started, so line that point up with that seam line right down the middle. And we'll trim the top for the last two pieces. Number 11, right here. And our favorite piece is the last piece. And just a reminder, there will be no Saturday Live. I will be teaching a workshop, and I have a very full class, so I doubt that I would have time to do anything from there. So we'll just wait until, well, we'll be here on Thursday, but then we won't be back until the following Tuesday. So yes, please send photos of the projects, even if they're not completed, just to show us your progress. How's it going? How it's going. When you do that, you inspire others to do more. Okay, ready to trim this one up. And join it to its mate. Do you want to press it? Okay. Okay, let's join these two together. It's going to go like that and like that. So we'll just flip that over, right sides together, and this center point is the really important point to match. So I'm going to put my pin in right at the point and put it in the point on the underneath piece. Right there, like that. This is where you really don't want to rock that pin. Match your edges, and then take another pin, holding this one straight across. Put it just like that. And then these ends should meet. Make sure your edges are together. Perfect. This would help if I took the pin out now. Right through the center. And if I did it right, I should have a very good center. Looks pretty good to me. They all come together there. Okay, now we're going to press it, and again I press my seams open. And there we are. Okay, guys, I think that's it for today. Join us on Thursday. We are going to do, let me take this off. We're going to do this block that's called Fox and Geese. And we're going to do this block, the pineapple block. And we're going to do this block, the New York Beauty block. I guess that's it. We will see you on Thursday at noon Pacific time. Oh, I think this one came out gorgeous. Anyway, we'll see you. Thanks for joining me, and I hope we're all together again on Thursday. Until then, have a great time. Hope you get some stitching done, and we'll see you Thursday. Take care. Bye bye.